I am Dr. Franklin Hall. In 2013, I had a run-in with the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I was supposed to emerge from that goo as a formidable foe of the Avengers, but that never happened. So my postponed vilification has made me even more appreciative of those who were lucky enough to become the greatest of antagonists of those superheroes. But with every epic battle, there is always the recovery process. It's up to me to talk them through their traumatizing experiences. Everyone talks about the fight, but no one talks about what happens next. This is post-defeat! Recently, everyone has been fearing that the end of the world will happen extremely sooner than expected. While I do greatly support the idea of a supervillain running the country, I would have preferred if it was in our fictional world, not in the real world. Lucky for me, I have a lot of connections in the supervillain world, and one of those connections is with the Reverse Flash, an expert on the activity of time traveling. But I can't go back in time to change things. I guess it's a fixed point or something. So instead, he took me forward in time to the year 2029 to see how bad the world would really get. The answer is nope, not really. It's kind of the same. The only difference is that apparently tigers are all extinct. I mean, I didn't really check the economy or our relations with all the other countries, but from what I saw, it's pretty okay. Maybe the only bad thing the president did was he fucked all of the tigers to death. But then that's when I realized I was being a self-absorbed asshole. I was only thinking about how I am affected by this future. While this may not be Armageddon for all of humanity, it is Armageddon for the mutant population. Only a handful are left. Oh no. Oh. But then again, now that I think of it, I was kind of looking forward to a post-apocalyptic wasteland. You know, Mad Max was awesome, the fashion sense was way more creative, and you didn't have to worry about big government anymore. Just teeny tiny factions of tribes and shit. As long as you didn't run into the wrong tribe, then you're good to go wandering through the deserts of a wasteland. So yeah, I actually kind of disappointed that the future isn't as fucked up as I had hoped. I wish I could have stayed longer in the future, but Reverse Flash was charging by the hour, and I'm not made out of money. So returning to the present, I knew what I needed to do. I needed to make sure that the end of all of civilization as we know it does happen, but not just for the mutants. Equal opportunity. The only way to do this was to confront the man behind all this. No, not him. He's boring as all fuck. I wanted to talk to the more interesting villain, Donald Pierce. Yes, it turns out our corrupt future is started by a different Donald. But I was only familiar with the 2029 Pierce. What was the 2017 Pierce like? Well, since he was in his mid-30s at the time, that means right now he's in his early 20s, which means only one thing. I would have to confront a millennial. Wish me luck.
Righty on, old man. Why'd you have to go and pluck me out of my education class? I've got some proper learning to do.
Listen, I'll take you back to your precious community college later. This is more important. I need to tell you something.
You are one of those supervillain folk, aren't you? Fighting those superheroes.
Yes, and in the future, you are a supervillain too.
What? Little old me? I ain't no supervillain. I'm what you call one of those businessmen. That is what I'm pursuing, not no supervillain career. That line of work goes to nowhere.
Don't criticize my life choices, okay? Alright? I have just visited the future, and whether or not that future happens is reliant on you.
What do I do? Do I cause the Armageddon? The end of all life as we know it?
Well, yes and no. For the human population, hell no. Everything is doing great. It's exactly the same, except the technology is a little bit better. Not a whole lot, but a little teensy tiny bit. However, it's not so good for the mutants.
Oh, huh. I like those guys. They're really cool. I wish I was superpowered like them.
Oh, you will be, Donald.
Ahaha! I'm beginning to like this future you're talking about. So how exactly do I improve on myself to make myself fit for a superpower world? Will it improve my business skills?
Who needs an office job when you have a robot arm?
Oh, that's really cool, I guess, being like Luke Skywalker and whatnot. But what else? What else do I get?
Well, you do have a high-ranking job that you want. There's that.
Wait a minute. You mean to tell me that the robot arm is all I get?
You're good at hand-to-hand combat in the future.
I'm good at hand-to-hand combat now. I can't believe this. Now I hate this future. Fuck your future.
That's the point! I don't want that future to happen, because it's boring compared to what it could be. To hell with all of this organized government and whatnot. We need to go back to the good old-fashioned barbaric days, where everyone cut each other's head off, and also their penises and butts, and burned each other at the stake, and it was all about survival of the fittest. So whatever evil thing you're planning to do in the next 12 years, you need to make sure it's more evil.
Huh. So you hate how things are going right now, even if they were run by supervillains.
Don't get me wrong, I would like that to happen, but there's something that would get in our way. As I've discussed previously on the program, we have to acknowledge all of those alternate dimensions. And one of those dimensions is where the future is that post-apocalyptic wasteland that I was so hoping for. It was a world where all the supervillains reigned supreme. They were our world's leaders. This land is Doom's land. This land is Hulk's land. This land is Magneto's land. This land is Red Skull's land. This land is the supervillain's land, and is not your land. This land is not for the superheroes, because they've all been fucking killed. And it was so nice of Hulk to move over to our side. I mean, sure, he's a grotesque piece of shit now, but I do believe that Red Skull was able to make America great again. However, Logan had to ruin everything and slaughter all of them. This is why we can't have nice futures. So yeah, maybe it's a good thing that we don't have all of those supervillains in power in this alternate future. Instead, the only supervillain we get is not in control of the government or anything like that. He just has a small-time business owner to fuck up. And so it's a lot less disappointing to see that crumble to its knees.
Are you sure that's the only reason why you wouldn't want supervillains on top? Maybe it's really because they wouldn't let you have a position in the cabinet. You would be kicked out to the side because of how obscure you are.
No, that's not the reason at all. Shut up. And besides, don't you go criticizing my obscurity when you are obscure as all fuck too.
I have an excuse. Like you said, I'm not no supervillain yet. I will be, but I'm just a student right now.
Oh, so you are embracing that idea.
It's growing on me a little bit, but I'd have to hear a little bit more before I get interested in it.
And the only way to do that is to make sure that you get started earlier. The younger, the better.
Oh, what? You want me to fast-track my origin story? Well, too bad for you, because I still have both of my appendages, and I'm not willing to give either up. Can't you see I'm in the middle of listening to some iTunes on my iPhone?
Oh, I'm falling. Millennial music. It hurts my ears.
Is it really burning your ears because it's that bad? Or is it just 'cause you're not used to change?
Don't bring logic into my ancient brain. And besides, you never mentioned how you got that robotic arm implant.
I imagine it's probably because I didn't lose it. Instead, it was just for the sake of having a robot arm. Because how else would you know for sure that I was a cyborg?
Exactly. The audience needs a clear reminder every time they see you that you are a cyborg, since that's the whole point of your character. Otherwise, why even bother with you?
Oh my gosh, there's a ghost holding that knife.
That's not no ghost. That's me holding it.
Alright, you're one of those superpower folk.
Yes. Say goodbye to your top 20s hits.
Oh fuck, what the hell? How the hell am I gonna listen to my same music every hour on the hour?
Huh, I didn't think you'd be more concerned about your phone than your friggin' body.
It doesn't hurt me that much now. When you live the disappointing life of being in the early 20s, you kinda get numb to all pain. But seriously though, don't you realize I'm a single man in college, and you just took away my one reason to live?
Don't worry, I know a guy.
Oh, thank God. The numbness is going away a little bit, and I'm beginning to feel the pain. And it is seriously a bitch. Those drugs are gonna kill the pain something else.
No, I don't know a guy for drugs. I know a guy for cybernetics.
Oh, God damn it. Now how am I supposed to get high?
Say hello to Simon Bar Sinister.
You should be lucky, Graviton, that I still give a flying fuck about those Fox Marvel characters. Hey, what do you have against my kind? Hey, I'm just going with the way things are right now, alright? There's a lot of heated tension between the Fox Marvel characters and the Marvel characters. Didn't you used to be on our side? I used to be, yes, but now I am going to the MCU side. I am going to be a Marvel character instead of a petty little Fox Marvel character.
Now, boys, why can't we just get along? Coexist. The Marvel characters and the Fox Marvel characters living together in harmony. Having a huge orgy.
You're right. I should be more accepting of them. After all, there used to be a time where I was neither a Fox Marvel character or a Marvel character. I was just an underdog character. No, never again will I go back to those old days. So you learn to accept me for who I am. Yes,
And here is your gift, a cybernetic arm. This will make your masturbation sessions even better.
I don't know, man. It looks like it might crush it.
You just have to get it to the right setting. Although there is still the possibility that your penis will be smashed into a bloody pulp, but if that happens, we are not held liable.
I don't think I'm interested in this transaction.
Oh, well, a perk is that your fingers flip the opposite way.
Well, then it's settled. I'll take it.
Smart move. Pleasure doing business with you, Mr. Pierce.
So, what exactly happened to all those mutants anyway? Those poor little buggies.
Well, they have become extinct for the most part, except for a small, tiny group of a bunch of little kids. They are the future of mutant kind. If they survive, then that means that the mutant race still has hope. They will repopulate, meaning a new generation of mutants flourishing throughout the world.
And I helped them with it, right? Since I am pro-mutant.
Well, the thing is, you are pro-mutant, but you're pro-mutant in the way that, Weapon X was pro-mutant, if you get my drift.
You mean using mutants as weapons? Not as allies or anything, just weapons. Not treating them like humans, but treating them like things. Things to use, like a gun.
Exactly. That's the way that you like mutants. Not as a friend, but as swag. Swag to flaunt around and be like, hey, I have a mutant weapon. Do you have a mutant weapon? No, you don't. You can't afford a mutant weapon. Not like my mutant weapon.
Oh, I can't believe my future self. I would never be like that. What the hell changed in me to make me that way? It was this robot hand, wasn't it? It corrupted me. It got to my head and made me think that I was cooler than everyone else and was entitled to treat mutants as objects. Well, I don't want it anymore. Get it off of my hand.
No, you need it just as much as all the other Reavers need their generic cybernetic implants.
Wait a minute. What the hell did you just say?
I said generic.
No, not that, you dumbass. I mean that other word you said.
Which one? I said a whole bunch.
I mean Reavers. You mean to tell me that the future is the one in Firefly, where there's a whole bunch of space pirates?
No, not that kind of Reaver. This kind of Reaver. If you're not going to have the supervillains in political power, then what are you going to have in its place? Well, a no-brainer is the Reavers. Yes, a group of cyborg soldiers, cyborg mercenaries. But the problem is that Donald Pierce is the only one of note. All of the other members of the Reavers are a bunch of no-name non-characters. They just all have the same exact cybernetic enhancements. A metal arm here, a robot hand there. Where's the variety? The diversity? Where's the Reaver with the wires all going all over the place on his head? Or the skull face Reaver? Or that one Reaver who was in the cyborg closet? You gotta be proud of who you are! You can't just hide it! And then you have the other extreme, a Reaver who not only had a mohawk, but a fucking tank as his lower body. Yes, who needs legs? Fuck legs, when you've got a fucking tank to transport you around. I mean, sure, it's cumbersome as all fuck. I mean, how are you gonna deal with stairs? But anyway, the most noticeable of all missions is Lady Deathstrike. Why was she not included? She is the Reaver who is the most similar to Wolverine. I forgot about that. Wait a minute, this hasn't stopped you from retconning characters before. What's keeping you from retconning her into this movie? Well, at least we should be lucky that she even got adapted at all. Now that Wolverine is gone, we will never see all of those other nemesis of Wolverine have their day, like Daken, Cyber, Omega Red, Wild Child, Wendigo, and Sabretooth. I know, he's already dealt with Sabretooth, but shouldn't we have had one last hurrah with him? One last battle to tie it all up? Oh well, I guess he really did die at the hands of Cyclops. Good for you, Cyclops. At least you have this win instead of the win of having a movie. Sorry about that.
A whole team, you say? A whole team of cyborg badasses. And you reckon I am the leader? Now that is not a bad idea. I do want to be the boss. And it's not bad to think about me being the boss of cyborg mercenaries.
But there's the chance to make yourself more badass.
Well, I got the robot arm for starters, although it feels a little bit itchy right now. And it's kind of burning at the bone a little bit.
Hey, well, sacrifices you have to pay.
If you say so. But is this what every Reaver's gonna have to deal with? I don't know, man. I'm all about employee benefits, and I don't see this as a very good benefit for my pupils.
You haven't even met the pupils yet!
Hey, this is all about thinking ahead, okay? That's what you're doing. You don't even have to worry about this. Isn't this not supposed to happen for another 12 years?
Don't you understand? Things are already set in motion right now. The DNA that's necessary for creating Wolverine's clones are being created as we speak.
Really? It takes that long to make them? I mean, I know cloning is still far ahead of us, but I didn't think it would take that long.
Well, it didn't start right now. It started back in the 1980s.
In a world where we were able to make giant-ass robots, it took like 4 decades to make one measly clone?
Well, not one clone.
And why the fuck are we talking about clones all of a sudden?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to introduce to you that concept. Yes, in the future, you work for a man whose specialty is creating clones.
Wait a minute, I thought you said that I was on top.
Sorry, I may have been getting a little bit ahead of myself. You're, the right-hand man of the real boss.
Oh, this is a whole pile of horse shit. If I am going to be a supervillain, no way, no how in hell am I gonna be someone's henchman. So you can tell this sorry asshole, whoever the hell he is, that he is not gonna have no intern working for him. I am my own boss.
But you don't even know who I'm talking about.
Okay, fine then. Who the hell do I supposedly work for? So I can kick his ass and make sure that never happens.
Well, his name is Xander Rice. Unfortunately, it's not Mr. Sinister. The last time I examined the world of mutants, my attention was particularly caught by the mention of Essex Corp. Yes, the organization that Mr. Sinister is behind. And it turns out there's no mention of him in the future. His henchmen were the one that took the blood samples of Wolverine and used it to eventually create his clones. So why doesn't he have a role to play in all of this? Well, it might be that the son of Agent Smith over here decided that he needed more creative freedom, and so he broke ties with Essex because of creative differences. But I wouldn't worry too much about old Sinister. He'll get back on his feet, and by that I mean he already did in the 1990s. Because I assume that's when we're gonna do him, right? Right? We're not just gonna keep postponing him, right? Right? Shit or get off the pot. Shit or get off the pot! And while you're at it, do you think we could have one of his henchmen be, I don't know, Sauron? No, not that Sauron. This Sauron! Because you just reminded everybody that he exists, so this better as hell not be the only way we ever get to see him in a live-action adaptation. Well, other than the second Scooby-Doo movie.
Huh. Xander Ross. That name is familiar. I think I met him once or twice at my college. He's a professor. He's a nice guy, you know, he's a nice guy, and he's as British as all hell. Although, now that I think of it, it should have been clear as all fuck that he was going to be a villain, considering his repertoire. But what makes him a little bit weird is that he talks to everybody like they're a bunch of little babies.
Well, with good reason. Because in the future, when he creates X-24, the exact clone of Wolverine in every single way except for the age, he talks to it the way you talk to a small child. Because it is a small child in a big man's body. It's like Jack or Big.
Wait a minute, you mean a man-child? That is our secret weapon? By God, you might as well have me do all the supervillain work then, instead of this stupid man-child.
Hey, you even talk to it like a small child too, but not in the same way Xander does. The way Xander does it is like the way a doctor talks to a child patient at a children's hospital. But the way you talk to him is like the way a big brother talks to their little brother when they're doing sports. It's kinda cute and adorable.
Well, I think that's a bunch of bullshit. Just because of what you said, I'm gonna make sure that I stay away from him as far as possible.
But if you do that, you'll never become your own villain. You need the financial support. You need the business connections, or you're nothing.
I'll show you. I'll show that I can do it all by myself.
You didn't even do it with the support.
Wait a minute. What the hell did you just say?
Oh, man, I promised myself I wouldn't tell you, but I'm afraid you left me no choice. In the future, you die!
What in tarnation? What the fuck didn't you lead with that?
Because I knew you wouldn't like to hear it. It's very unpleasant.
Well, I mean, if I die that easily, then surely everyone else dies too, right?
Yeah, they all die in extremely gruesome ways. Just really gruesome and bloody as all fuck. You gotta take advantage of that R rating after all.
Well, at least there's that. A good villain is the one who has a really over-the-top, extremely memorable death.
And right you are. Just about all the villains get fantastically glory blood-fest deaths. Stabbings in the face, decapitations, the losing of balls, Xander gets his face exploded, X-24 gets shot in the head, and you see the impact of the metal skull. You actually see the impact of where the bullet went through.
Oh, yes. I understand now. The more evil you are, the more gruesome your death is. So that makes me okay that I go out, as long as I go out in a fantastical evisceration of all time. Just a blaze of glory.
Oh, it's a blaze of glory, all right. It's just that it's not by Wolverine.
Well, that's okay. was it X-23? I mean, I am a feminist, so I don't mind being killed by a woman. She deserves to have every right that the man does, and also disembowel the supervillain.
Well, she does. It's just that she doesn't disembowel you either.
Okay, so let me get this straight. I'm not killed by Wolverine. I'm not killed by X-23. Then who am I eviscerated by?
You are killed by a bunch of small children.
You gotta be fucking me right hard up the ass if you telling me that.
This is the new generation. It's supposed to be symbolic that the future of mutantanity gets to survive by getting rid of the thing in their way. And that thing in their way just happens to be you. And so they show you what they got. What they all got. They got those plant powers. They got those force field powers. They got those earthquake powers. And they got those electric powers from a little black chubby boy. Yes, if you're African American in a superhero property, then 9 times out of 10 you have electric powers.
I don't care about all that. Kids are kids. Why the hell does every single other villain gets the honor of being killed by the titular badasses, while I am relegated to just getting my ass whooped by a bunch of little snot-nosed babies? It's still such a pussy way for me to go out. I don't want that future.
So let's build a better one. You know what to expect now.
You're right. I will make sure I never get killed by those little incubators. I'm not the villain of some kind of baby geniuses movie.
Yes, I am changing the course of events now.
And maybe this means that now that I don't get killed, me and Professor Xander Ross will get those kids, make them our weapons, along with X-24, and we will rule the whole country.
And you will corrupt it, and then it will cause a nuclear war, and then I'll finally get my alternate future that I want! The one that Old Man Logan is supposed to be!
And plus, I'm getting used to this new robot arm. It has way better selection of music than that old iPhone. And I'm at an all-time low, 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 low. Low, 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 low.
I still don't understand your taste of music, but I do feel like we are connecting now. You've learned to trust your elders, like Xander Rice. And now that you've become more accepting of old people, I've become more accepting of young people. Your music is just okay. It's not great or anything, but it's not shit. And besides, every era has their shit. Jesus Christ, the 80s is just filled to the wazoo with cockamamie bullshit. Hey, Mickey, you're so fine, I wanna fuck you in the ass, oh, Mickey. Oh, Mickey.
We're best buddies now. Thanks for the information, Graviton. Now, when the whole world suffers a nuclear holocaust and everyone dies, it's gonna be thanks to you.
Well, not everyone.
How are you sure?
Well, you see... Oh, shit. I didn't realize that. Everyone could die, not just most people. I don't want that. Oh, I made a horrible mistake. Maybe you should forget everything I said just now.
No, Once you said it, it's in my brain now. Sorry, Graviton, but I told you, I climb those ladders, and I take advantage of every business opportunity I find. And what you just gave me was a huge business opportunity, and I'm taking that opportunity. I am going to start the Reavers right now. I am going to network with Mr. Xander Ross right now, and I am going to make sure he makes that Hugh Jackman clone so that Hugh Jackman can keep doing his movies for the end of time.
No! What have I done?
And the first supervillain thing I'm going to do is kill you with this robot hand.
But I have gravitational powers. I can stop you.
Then I'll just come back with more cybernetic enhancements. Who knows? I might become a giant cybernetic monster. Yeah, and I just keep coming back with more cybernetic enhancements and more enhancements until the end of time. What the hell is that?
It's a little bomb. Oh, that bomb looks familiar. I remember. That's the bomb that takes you out in the future.
This is a bunch of both.
Oh, thank God. Oh, it's a really good thing that the radius of that bomb wasn't big enough to reach me. Just him. Man, that's a ridiculously small radius.
Well, Graviton, it wasn't meant to kill him. It was just meant to knock him out, just like the bomb in the future.
Caliban! Yay! You're still alive!
Yes, unlike in the future, where I die due to that explosion.
I forgot all about you. You had a huge role in the future.
Yes, and I still looked good for my age.
Yeah, you haven't aged a day. Well, I mean, you look a little bit different than you do in the 1980s, probably because you're played by a different actor.
Exactly.
But wait a minute, how do you know about the future?
Well, Graviton is not the only one who is concerned about the future, so Caliban also asked a speedster to go to the future.
So why were you curious? Was it also because Jack O'Lantern is president?
No, it is to see if Caliban still refers to himself in third person.
I see. So were you disappointed when you found out you don't?
No, not really, because it saves Caliban a lot more time when speaking.
But you already save enough time as it is when you speak really fast.
Not enough time for Caliban.
I see, so you come to accept the fact that you might not always speak in third person.
Yes, I have accepted that.
Just like how I have also accepted that maybe I shouldn't get my wishful future. And that is okay. Not everything is going to turn out the way you want it, but that shouldn't mean you still shouldn't aspire for that future to happen. After all, the future isn't set in stone, so it's not what Donald Pierce does. It's what I do. It's what you do. It's what Caliban does.
Oh, what the hell happened?
Uh-oh, he seems to be waking up.
Where am I? Who the hell are you two? One of you is an albino, and the other is a senior citizen in a disco jumpsuit. Oh, this is not lit at all. I need to be at my business associates class. My term paper is due.
Yay! He has amnesia! He doesn't remember anything I told him.
Yes, now the course of events that you have foresawn are destined to happen.
Oh, but that means you still die.
Oh, that's okay. I still got another 12 years to live. And besides, you said it yourself. The future is what you make of it. Maybe it will happen. Maybe it won't. Who knows? All we can do is continue to live our lives to the fullest.
And no matter what that future may be, it will be recorded down in history, in the modern equivalent of hieroglyphics. We will never be forgotten! As we all know, the most historical of moments always inspired the greatest literature and movies and television shows. It's like when real events happened in history and were exaggerated into legends and myths and tall tales. So if superheroes are a real thing in the real world, then who knows how exaggerated that would get when it got translated into stories. Specifically, comic books. And that's when I found out during my studies of the future, my life was also adapted into a story. But it wasn't a comic book, it was a YouTube series where some guy decided to poorly draw a bunch of doodles and record himself doing silly voices. Here is a snippet of what I have discovered. Dum da 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 dum da 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 dum 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 dum. Hey there, I'm Canadian Supervillain, I'm Govatone, and this is the show where I talk about what happened to the supervillains, eh? With me, my guest is a beaver, eh? Because Canadians only know Canadian animals, only know about beavers and moose and geese. What do you want to talk about, beaver?
Ho ho ho, I am a beaver. I am not just a Canadian beaver, but I am a French Canadian beaver. Ho ho ho. What is it like for you to live as a Canadian instead of a French Canadian? Ho ho ho.
Well, you know there, beaver, we're really nice to each other, eh? And we all lactate syrup out of our nipples, and we put it on our pancakes, eh? And then we have sex with the pancakes, and bacon, eh? The bacon is just ham. My God, they didn't even bother to animate it. But wait a minute, that means that Wolverine still has another 12 years of existence. And doesn't that make it a lot less emotional to know that he dies when we're just gonna explore more times before this event?
Well, what do you mean?
Well, we're about to look into the 1990s again to re-explore the Phoenix Saga, and I believe we're also gonna be in that same era for the New Mutants. Not to mention that Deadpool is probably going to continue to be in the present, as shown by that short movie, so it's kind of less tragic to see Wolverine's death when we're still going to explore all of these moments in the timeline where he's still alive somewhere. Wouldn't it have been more of a climax if these movies were going linear and we never went back to before he died? We just kept going forward in the future? If that were the case, then it would be more of a sad experience to see Wolverine die. But now that we know we're just going to go back in time again, I don't feel as sad about that.
Well, keep in mind that even though we're going to continue to explore the past, we are going to explore the future with X-23.
You're right. X-23 is going to continue the legacy long after the events of 2029, which means we can still have a chance to explore all of those Wolverine villains without Wolverine. Like Dakin, it doesn't have to be a father-son tragedy now. It can be a brother-sister tragedy. But probably not Sabretooth or Lady Deathstrike. Kinda pointless without Wolverine.
But what's important is that we stay true to this promise of saying goodbye to the character. Because if we go back on our word, then that deems this whole story pointless. So we have to keep that in mind when moving forward into the future.
Right you are, Caliban. Right you are. But shouldn't I be a little bit concerned that you're more of a superhero in the future?
Oh, I ran out of time. I gotta go outside now.
But no! It's daytime! You're gonna die!
Not according to the future, as long as I take a page from the book of Teenage Mutant Turtles. There, now I am protected. Goodbye, Graviton. Wish me luck as I go out there and learn how to speak with a British accent, since British people are more eloquent than whatever the hell my accent is right now.
I thought it was German.
It's supposed to be, but in these YouTube videos, for some reason, it's Scottish. What the hell?
I have learned my lesson. I should not tamper with the course of history. Whatever happens, happens. We have no control over our fates. But what's important is that I live every day as if it was the last. And that means living it as a super-duper villain. Just like the supervillain for next episode. Wait, what? That's the villain for next episode? Are you serious? That's where we're going? Okay. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's just that I have a particular past with these supervillains. A very complicated past. I'll explain in the next episode. Oh boy. See you then.